Okay, here on my channel, especially in the live shows, we often talk about clothing and high-end clothing and the way they used to make high-quality clothing here in these United States of America. And of course, I have some items in here that are from England as well, and a couple from Canada, but the vast majority are from these United States. And look at the lapels on a lot of these. You'll notice that they're what I would call conservative lapels, kind of timeless, where you could have been wearing these 20 years ago, you could be wearing them 10 years ago, and of course now, and of course 10 years from now. Contrast this with the trend these days in 2019, early 2019, where a lot of the sport coats are unnaturally short. They look very short on people. They almost look like they're for a little boy. And they have real narrow lapels, and a lot of them are cut really tight to the body, which makes them uncomfortable to wear and not easy to move in. And so I go the other direction. I like the clothes that are very classic design, very comfortable, plenty of material in the clothes so that you can move in them so they're comfortable. That's a Harris tweed jacket. Came from Lord & Taylor. It was tailored in the USA, as you can see, from tweed that came from overseas, Harris tweed. And all these suits, you'll notice a common theme is the fabrics are fantastic. And I'm going to show some shirts and some other accessory items as well. But the fabrics are excellent. They're all comfortable to wear. And when you dress up, you don't have to be uncomfortable, okay? If you get high-quality shirts, high-quality ties even that tie nicely and so forth, and these pants, those are Bill's khakis made in these United States. See there? Made in the USA. You get things that are high quality, that are well made. Even those jeans are made in the United States with plenty of fabric. And now here's a Burberry trench coat coming up, and this of course was from England, and that's an all cotton one. That's the one you want to get. And some of these things are not real easy to get. Some of these things you have to get vintage because they don't make the high quality stuff anymore. So some of these, like the Hart Schaffner Marx suits, for example, they're not as good as they used to be. So some of them you might need to buy vintage, but the good news is you can get them in really good condition if you look, and you can get something really nice for a deal. And some of these are all cashmere sport coats as well. And so I like a lot of cashmere. That one right there, for example, is cashmere, and that's a Hickey Freeman. So you're seeing all the brands here, and I'm going to, by the way, that's Gitman Brothers. They still make shirts in Pennsylvania. I'm going to put a link in the description to my photo set with all these photos and with the information about the individual items. Each photo has information about the individual item. And so you won't have to make note of all that now. You can just go to the photos that you like, and then I'll have the information. So even shoes, hey, these are made in the United States. That pair's Russell Moccasin Company makes some really good shoes, and they'll make them to order. A lot of these were the Sperry Made in Maine collection. Those were also made in Maine. Same with these right here. These were Ralph Lauren, Telford, that they made in the USA. They don't anymore, I don't think. So some of these you might need to buy new old stock, but sometimes you can find a deal on shoes like this, new old stock, that are normally like a $350 pair of shoes. You might be able to get them for $100, $120. Brand new in the box if you get lucky. Search on eBay. And there's an attaché case by Atlas. That was made, I believe, in Pennsylvania. And Garfinkel's, an old store in D.C. years ago. That's a cashmere sweater. And a lot of these things, if you get the high quality ones, it's a much higher quality of cashmere. There's a lot of cheaper cashmere coming out of China that's not near as good as some of the vintage stuff. Now, the problem with the vintage stuff is you got to make sure you get something that the moths have not gotten into. And then just wash it in Woolite, and it will be fine. And if you take care of it, it'll last years. And it actually holds up better if you get the high quality cashmere, so from back in the day. So anyway, these things can be found. I'm just trying to give you a few pointers as far as what to look for, what brand names and things like that. And again, some of these names have kind of sold out here recently, the last 10 or 20 years, where they've cheapened their brand and where it's not what it used to be. For example, Banana Republic was started by a couple in San Francisco, and they just sourced really good stuff and not so much anymore. There's Oxford Clothes. As far as I know, they do still make clothes in these United States, And these are some Oxford sport coats. Those are cashmere. And then, of course, boots, Lucchese boots. Those are made in the USA. There's another pair of Russell. And there's a Burberry jacket, all cotton. And some of these bomber jackets, for example, some of them were made in the United States. You see one right there. So, again, you got to be picky. You got to look, but you can find the good stuff if you look around. U.S. Wings, I think, still makes some things in the U.S. Patagonia made a lot of things in the U.S., as did the North Face back when they were getting started. You might need to get some vintage stuff to get the USA-made stuff in those brands. I think they might still make some things in the USA, but certainly not everything. So all of my stuff was made in the USA. I don't buy stuff that's made in China. And so in high-quality hats, you can also get those if you want to wear a hat, and some of those are made in the U.S. Even some of the boonie hats are made in the U.S., like that one right there. That Stetson I picked up in New York. That, of course, was made in the U.S. Has a high amount of beaver in it. That hat is kangaroo leather. I've got a couple of those. I like those. And Tilley hats, they come out of Canada, and those are super good for traveling, super comfortable. And that hat was made of beaver right there, of actual beaver fur. So that's very warm. And so a lot of options for some high-quality items that you can still find. That hat there, a Marine Corps hat, is made in the United States of America. So there you go. There's another Stetson that was made in the U.S., and so it goes on, but you get the quality stuff, and you get relatively conservative designs, and you can wear these things for years and years and get a lot of comfortable service life out of them. Clothing really should be comfortable. It shouldn't be a chore to dress up and wear some decent clothing, if you will. And I wear those boonie hats when I do photography because I need the brim to be able to get out of the way when the camera pushes up against it. So that's why I have a lot of those boonie hats. But there's another Tilley hat, and that one is hemp, made of hemp. And there's another Tilley hat, a green one. So I've got several of those. So let me know what you think. Click subscribe and click the little bell so you'll get notifications. Thanks.